Scott, you want to stay for an hour? I'm like, nope, I got stuff going on. And then everybody says no, so then it comes back to mandatory, and they're like, Scott, you're staying for an hour. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know exactly what that's like.
But then some other guy who knows that I do the race, like I send him the broadcast all the time, he's like, okay, I know this tonight is Scott's race night. Like I'll suck it up and I'll stay for him. So I owe him a pack of beer.
Looks like we're live.
We are live.
Hey everyone, Ken Huber here with Scott Patton and Kim Quick, and we're just wrapping up practice at Richmond, Virginia. 3/4 of a mile of golden goodness. Scott, what do you have to say about this place?
I'm excited about Richmond. The idea with this M-ROC series is that we went to Talladega last week on the Super Speedway, and now we're short track racing this week on the 3/4 mile in Richmond, Virginia. So looks like a good field, 24, 25 cars or so, and looking for a good race here. Looks like 90 laps ahead of us during sunset.
Yeah, I think this would be a pretty exciting race. You know, I was out there turning some laps with these guys here a few minutes ago, and the cars are interesting. We're now shifting these with the 5-speed, so it's going to really change things up and change what we're used to seeing, I think.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of races with these next-gen cars where the drivers took them the better part of like half the race to figure out that they had that fifth gear in there. So be interesting to see if some guys forget about that early on and or how that goes. But looks like there's some awesome paint schemes out there. I'm just browsing through the field right now as we speak before the race starts here. So. Looks like qualifying is just starting. I think it's a 5-minute qualifying. Drivers have 2 laps to put down their best time, and should be a good one out there tonight. How competitive was it in practice? What did you see out there, Ken, and during practice? Anything of note as far as how close the field was or competitive?
Yeah, guys were running some pretty quick times, from what I can tell, anywhere from 22 flat to the 23-second range. Bulk of the guys seem to be about mid-22s, and there was a lot of hard racing there, some spins. I think people were getting used to the cars, as I was too. It took me, 3 or 4 laps to kind of figure out where I needed the throttle, but I was actually starting to enjoy it with these new cars. So hopefully these guys got enough practice in, kind of learn how to shift them and get through the corners, and I guess we'll see how this all turns out. Hopefully our producer, Kim Quick, we don't work him too hard tonight on the replay booth here.
Yeah, hoping we're going green flag all night long, but we'll see.
I'm with you, brother.
But if Kim doesn't work, doesn't that mean that you and I have to work more, Ken?
That's true. It's all right, I'll just crack open more beer.
Speaking of, I'll be right back.
So yeah, we're just, while Scott's away, we're still getting qualifying underway. Right now, Wesley Holland is at the top of the board with a 21.877. Followed by Brian Abbott at a 22.112, and Mike Erder in third currently with a 22.129. But we still got quite a few cars that haven't qualified yet, so we'll see if those top 3 can hold their positions here. So Kim, were you able to turn any laps out here tonight?
No, I was pretty much just watching and checking on what drivers were doing and things like that. I noticed I think there's going to be a lot of tire wear tonight. I was watching a lot of guys heat them up going into 3, especially on the left rear, right rear, and I was hearing a lot about the car pushing as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a new experience for everyone tonight. Like I said, this is our second race in these cars. We raced at Talladega last week. Tire wear really wasn't an issue, and we got to see the new draft model with these cars. We've seen a lot of like 2x2s, it seemed like. It was pack racing, some good racing, fairly clean. We're hoping for even more exciting action tonight on this short track.
Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to see more action tonight than we did last week. Usually Talladega's line them up like ducks and let's go till the end. You know.
Yeah, that sounded good. Whatever that was, it sounded good.
All right, what I miss?
So right now we just had a change actually. Gene Daly just knocked Brian Abbott out of his second place qualifying run there. So Gene Daly did it with the 21.944. Wesley Holland's still sitting on that pole. Nobody's been able to punch him off of it yet.
Man, Wes is a hot ticket through all these nights. Seems like Sundays all the way through Saturdays. He's kind of a hot pick to win any one of these races from the multi-league series.
Yeah, and these guys are going to have to start getting out there. There's 1 minute of qualifying left, so I see a lot of guys that haven't quite qualified yet. So if they're going to do it, they need to get out on the track.
Yeah, one thing I know is different with the iRacing qualifying here in NASCAR. I know as long as you take the green flag, I guess back when we had qualifying, as long as you take the green flag when the counter expires, your lap is good. But here in iRacing, you have to finish your lap by the time that qualifying ticker ticks down. So we've got 40 seconds left. Got to be across the checkers in 40 seconds here for it to count.
So far, our top three, Wesley Holland, Gene Daly, and Brian Abbott. Mike Herter is in fourth currently with qualifying, and Christopher Davis is in fifth.
Looks like the rest of the top 10, Ted Quinsell, Eric Talent, Joe Marks. Saw a really good run from him last week at Talladega. Nice to see him up in the top 10, and Charlie Whitner in ninth there. It looks like Andrew Schulte just bumps Mike Milford off the 10th spot.
Yeah, right on the wire, and we just completed qualifying, so that's going to lock in our top 10. So let's go through our grid here. Currently, Wesley Holland on the pole. Great run by him with that 21.877. Gene Daly next, Brian Abbott, Mike Herter, then Christopher Davis, Ted Quinsell, Eric Talent, Joe Marks, Charlie Widener, Andrew Schulte. Ooh, Andrew Schulte qualified in 10th. That's a little unusual. Michael Melfelt in 11th. Keith Haney in 12th. Mark Billen in 13th. Jeff Gilmore in 14th. Jeffrey Merck in 15th. Mark Stryker in 16th. And then Lance Armentrout in 17th. Vernon Margheim in 18th. Sean Turner in 19th. James O. Brown wraps out our top 20. So we're having the drivers meeting right now as everybody grids up. So Scott, what do you think? What do you think we're really going to see tonight?
I think I'm going to take the easy card out and say I don't know, because there's a lot of unknowns tonight with these new cars. I have not seen them on a short track at all yet. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm hoping that high lane, I know iRacing has done some changes here at Richmond in particular to make that high lane a little more grippy. So hoping for some double wide racing, some real competitive stuff, but we will find out in about 30 seconds here.
So what do you think the tire strategy is, being that you going with the only one set of tires? I mean, do you race hard or do you take it easy? What do you think versus the front guys versus the back guys in managing your equipment?
That's a tough one. I think if you're in the back, I think you got to move. You got to move up through the field and potentially use those tires, because you got to get through the field fairly quick, because it is a shorter race. But if you're up towards the front, I think it's more of a strategy of just using just enough tire to hold your position up there and save a little bit for the end. You don't want to show all your cards too early here and then end up with no tires at the end of the race. So I think it's happy medium, and I think whichever driver can find that balance the best throughout the 90 laps will be in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, I agree, and I see some of our faster guys that didn't have really great qualifying runs. People like Andrew Schulte and Jeffrey Merck and Jeff Gilmore, guys like that. Normally, I see them qualifying up further, so going to be fun to watch these guys try to navigate this short track with this large field here. So the pace car is taking them around the track currently. Should be going green here momentarily. Wesley Holland on the pole is going to lead him to the green flag. So there is some great looking cars out here tonight, Scott. So as we enter turn 4, It looks like we got 2 laps, get it warmed up, so we'll do another lap before we go green.
Sounds good. I'm looking at, oh gosh, where's Charlie Whitner here? Right around 12th or 13th or so. Looking at his, ninth spot there. Looking at his paint job with the Craftsman Harbor Freight. We just did that one for him on his outside. Andrew Schulte there in 10th spot with the Children's Wisconsin paint. Mike Milfelt right behind him in that 123 with a sharp-looking car. And yeah, a lot of good paints out here. I like, I set this race for sunset. I like how the cars show up right at sunset, nice and sharp, without the huge glare. It should be a really sharp-looking race tonight.
Yeah, this track will be cooling down as the race goes on with the sunset too, so that's going to change the grip of the tires and with the tires wearing out. Anyway, pace car is dipped onto pit lane, and we're about to go green as Wesley Holland hits that throttle pedal, and he's away with Gene Daly in second and Brian Abbott in third as they stretch him out. So Wesley Holland got a great start there. Gene Daly is currently trying to fight off Brian Abbott for that second position. And from what I can tell, he has done so. Looking back in the field here, Ted Quincell is side by side with Eric Talent there. Looks like Ted made that pass there.
Yeah, real nice job by these top 5 or 6 cars, finding single file, finding their spots, taking it easy. I know we're only on one set of tires tonight. So really nice job and a really nice jump by Wes Holland. He's a smart racer. I think Wes, we're going to see, I think he's one of those that knows exactly what's underneath him as far as tires go. So I think he's going to push just enough to keep Gene behind him. And I look for him to be in the top 3 pretty much all night here.
Yeah, I'm looking back here at an interesting battle with Joe Marks in the number 4 car. He's running up there with Charlie Whitner and Ted Quincell, and they were 3 wide almost for a couple of times there. He's in that red number 4 Marine Corps car. Hoorah! You go get him, Joe. A little bit further back, I'm looking at Keith Haney right now. He's being challenged on the outside by Michael Milfeld. Michael Milfeld's looks like trying to get him on the outside there. Keith Haney's another one of those fast drivers. I expect to see him up front before the end of this thing as well. Moving back up to our leaders, Wesley Holland still leading it. They've went single file, trying to manage his tires. It looks like he's opened up a lead to almost a full second on Gene Daly. And Gene Daly is about 0.8 of a second ahead of the 3rd place car of Brian Abbott. These top 10 or so cars have managed to just go single file right now and probably trying to manage. Ooh, I see some bumping in the back.
Looks like Andrew Schulte, Mike Milfeld getting a little bit together in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Got it sorted out, straightened out. Front of the car pointing forward, and everybody's back on track. A little chatter on the radio, but it's
yeah, based on what I was seeing in practice, I actually expected a little more carnage. These guys are really behaving out there. It's they actually put the time in practice and kind of keeping good control of their cars. So during my practice time, I noticed that both the exit of both corners, the car felt really aero loose, and it was hard to save, Scott. At least that was my impression. I was hearing a lot of that on the radio chatter as well.
looser or tight? I know somebody mentioned that the drivers were feeling it was a little bit tight, a little bit as well in the middle of the corner, but you said more loose, you think, from your experience?
Well, just aero loose on the exit. So they were complaining about the entry being tight and in the center, and then on the exit it was aero loose. And if you got it loose, then it was, what they were saying, it was impossible to save.
Gotcha. So once it goes, yeah, it goes. Which is all the more important reason to, I think, save the rear tires in particular at a track like this. It's super easy to slide them off the corner a little bit, get a little loose, heat them up, and then you end up paying for it for the next at least 10 laps or so while you try to cool them down. I think iRacing does a great job with modeling a realistic tire situation there. So I'm looking up front, Wes Holland with a 2.8 second, man, he's really been putting these laps down. 2 laps ago, he was only 2 seconds in front of Gene Daly, now stretching out to 3 seconds. I guess my theory of just pushing hard enough to stay in front of Gene, he says, nope, not tonight. I'm going to give her all she got and 3 seconds out front. See how that tire wear does.
Yeah, and I'm currently looking at the 81 of Andrew Schulte, just behind Ted Quinzel here. He's just getting by him right now. He's got a little bit of damage on the back of that car. Hopefully that doesn't hurt him. It is short track, so he should be okay. If there is a caution, I believe there's no quick repairs, so they got to run with what they got.
That's correct. I'm looking back at where Ted Quinzel is past Andrew Schulte there. Ted just drifting a little bit high off the corners. Looks like he's giving up 3 or 4 or 5 spots here. A 39 car there, Mike Stryker looking to take a peek. Cut down to the inside, see if he can pull it off. Nope, falls in line maybe. There we go. Ted finally found a spot. Just drops in line. No, it's going to drift high. Maybe Ted, you know what I like about Ted here? I think he's exploring a little bit. Like I said, that high line. Oh, and we're in the wall off turn 4. Maybe that wasn't part of the plan, but I want to say that he was like maybe exploring the, see if there's any more grip on that high side that other drivers weren't seeing. But
yep, maybe he found the limit of his grip there. It looks like he's actually maybe coming on pit lane here. Might have knocked down a tire or something like that when he hit the wall and has to try to get it fixed with no tires. That might ruin his night there. Anyway, I'm looking up here at the 57 car of Jeff Gilmore. He's being challenged on the outside by, help me out here, I guess. Well, he's made that pass underneath, so I guess it doesn't matter.
that was Vernon Marga. I'm thinking that Pepsi color 33.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these guys haven't got their new paint
Oh,
jobs
Vernon
yet, so,
gets a little loose in turn 1 and 2 on the top side of Mike Stryker.
oh, he's going around. I think he's going to lose it. Oh, he saves it. So anyway, as I was saying, with these new cars, not everybody's got their paint jobs done yet.
Yeah, right. It's a little bit harder for us to call the race, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking quite a ways out, so I'm used to car colors here. I have to get used to these. So Wesley Holland is stretched out to over 3.5 seconds. Still leading this thing over Gene Daly. Gene Daly's about a full second over Brian Abbott, who's in 3rd. Mike Erder, the Dart, is in 4th. He's just a 10th off Brian Abbott. Probably challenging Brian Abbott right now.
Looking in P5, Chris Davis, in that teal color, our Canadian out there. One of a couple, I believe. I saw him showing a nose a couple times underneath Mike Erder. I think he's wanting to let Mike know that he's wanting to take that position, but hasn't found the fender to do it just yet. Down turn 3 and see there it is. Shows the fender, dives in deep, backs off wisely. Erder shuts the door on him.
Yeah, and it looked like Chris might even locked up one of those tires. I've seen a bunch of smoke come off there to stay off the back of Mike Erder, so that was a good drive by him. And then behind him, we got Charles Widener in the 95. And just behind Charles is Jeffrey Merck in the 60 car there. He's being pressured by Eric Talent, who's in 8th. Eric Talent is in that 05 car.
Yeah, these guys were at there. Charlie Whitner, Merck, Eric Talent. Looks like they're about 6 to 7 seconds off the pace here. If I were them out there, I know they want to save tires, but I wouldn't want to give up too much more than 6 or 7 seconds to the leader in a short race like this. We're already 20 laps down under green of 90, just about a quarter done, and I'd want to see that gap start to stabilize, and hopefully with some confidence of knowing that Wes Holland's tires are hopefully going to start to wear down here and they can pick up the pace and catch back up to him. But as we see that, Mike Erder on the inside of the 82 there.
Yeah, I've been watching this. They've been going side by side for at least the last lap and a half. I think Mike Erder's being a little patient, and I'm guessing that Brian is just trying to hold on to that position.
Exactly. I think passing is tough enough around this racetrack where I think as Mike Erder gets a little loose off turn 2, gives up the spot. Charlie Whitner with a great move there from the inside of Chris Davis all the way to the outside and turn 3 and 4. Try to keep momentum up here. Got Merck. If I know anything about Merck, if he's got a fender in there, he's going to show it to him here in turn 1. There it is. Nice job by Charlie to just float the outside.
This is going to be a great battle with these guys.
Yeah.
Really, Merck just gets loose. lets Christopher Davis get by. But he's going to hold that fender there and get back down on the bottom. Try to get back by Chris.
Yeah, it seems like passing is difficult enough at this racetrack where it seems like the racers know that if they get a fender in there, they're going to be aggressive. Again, we talked about the tire wear, but there's times when you got to be aggressive enough to get the position done and get the pass completed before you spend too much tire wear trying to get by them.
Yeah, that 95 car of Widener. He
gets into Erder. Great job by Erder there, wheeling it 3 and 4. Still collecting it. M-ROC goes by. Looks like M-ROC's the beneficiary of that. Chris Davis coming in the middle.
Yeah, that cost Mike Erder a few positions there with that. But nice recovery. Charlie backed off. Probably let the thing cool down. Looking a little bit back, further back, I see Keith Haney's making a move on, looks like Eric Talent.
Talent gives him that position with not too much of a battle. And if you go back up front, Wes Holland, 4.5, pushing 5 seconds now, lead over Gene Daly. If I was Gene, you know what I would be doing is just kind of sitting where I'm at, knowing that caution is pretty much his best friend now. We're not even halfway. And if I can save a little more tire than Wes when the caution comes out, re-rack him, and give Wes a shot when we do the restart, you know. But
yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I mean, maybe he is doing that. Maybe that's why he's giving up so
exactly.
much time.
Yep.
So
I think,
back,
I was going to say, if you go
here,
back to... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was looking at, sorry for stepping on you there. I was looking back at this battle between Keith Haney and Charles Widener. These guys, Keith Haney is all over the back bumper trying to get by Charles Widener, and it was looking like it was going to be pretty intense, and he's back. He's closed it back in again. He's had enough following Charles, so he's looking for a way by at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking back up at P3. Looks like M-ROC got around Brian Abbott nice and clean there. Somebody that's been doing a lot of work on tire strategy and racecraft in general this past year, and it's improved a lot in my book, I think, is Jeffrey Mark up there. Doing a real nice job. He's 8 seconds back behind Wes in 3rd spot. I'm looking to see that if he can close that gap at all next 10 laps.
Yeah, another interesting note about Jeffrey Mark is he started in 15th, and we're 31 laps into this, and he's already in the 3rd spot.
Wow, that's he is. I'm looking at my list now of most positions gained, and he is plus 12 spots. The next closest one to him is George Jones, who has gained 8 spots back in 15th spot. So, real nice job. By far the fastest mover of the race so far, Jeffrey Mark.
How do you think Jeff is doing on his tires? You said he's been strategizing and working hard on his game plan for race day.
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing on the scoreboard right now is he's down to 7.7 seconds to Wes Holland. So I was looking at that gap was about 8 seconds 2 laps ago. So that's right about where I'd want to be, is that to watch that gap stabilize, which I'm sure he's watching in his cockpit there from his iRacing telemetry. 7.5 seconds now, so great job to start to see that close. And then you start to do some numbers, you know, especially if you're in M-ROC's position like this, where you have another second and a half to the person in front of you. You know, just run some numbers, figure out where the gap is, figure out what the pace of the race is, and just see if you can't make some move on these guys. As we say that, I'm watching Gene Daly pull over in turn 3 and 4. Not sure if something went wrong here, but looks like Gene Daly's off pace. Coming to pit road.
Yeah, he must have had something mechanical there.
Yep, and he just jumped out. So that moves M-ROC. Everybody, the whole field up 1 spot.
Yeah, so right before that happened, I was looking at Christopher Davis here in the 38 car. He has done really well out there. He usually doesn't qualify. I think he qualified tonight. He started in 5th. He's in 3rd. He's being steady and patient, able to somewhat keep M-ROC in sight there. He's having a good run tonight.
Yeah, man, I keep looking at these numbers from M-ROC. His laps he's laying down. Nice, super consistent. Down to 6.7 seconds. He's knocked off a second and a half in the last 5 laps here. So right on pace there. If I was him, I'd just sit, keep doing what you're doing, consistent, hit your lines, and don't get too excited about the possibilities here, but he's looking in really good shape.
Yeah, and now Wesley Holland finds himself in a new situation. He is now facing lap traffic and lots of it. So this is actually going to probably help M-ROC out as well. I would imagine Wesley Holland's going to struggle getting by these lap cars because they're probably not going to want to let him by freely. They want to stay on the lead lap in case there's a caution, and that's going to allow M-ROC to come up and run some more time down on him.
Exactly. Not only their desire to stay on the lead lap, but also their desire to race with each other. And those are 4 cars that are racing for positions just as much as anybody else on the racetrack is. And as I say, that Wes Holland rushes the wall off of turn 4.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, oh, he's going to get into it, and he did. It looked like it was minor, though. I don't think it's going to hurt the car too bad. I'm sure that was frustrating for him. He's probably cussing himself out in that cockpit right now.
Yeah, and the best thing he can do is to be careful not to beat himself. You know, he's probably watching in his telemetry as well and seeing that time tick down from Jeffrey M-ROC down to 5.5 seconds now as he's laying down those laps. Remember, too, that M-ROC, once he approaches, is also going to have to fight his way through these lap traffic cars as well, the same way that Wes Holland is now.
Yep.
I just noticed he's shifting.
Yeah, so when I was out during practice, I found myself shifting down to 4th going into turn 3, and then running it back out to 5th on the front stretch, and then going back into 2 and 3, downshifting back to 4th and leaving it in 4th until I got back to turn 3. So
wow.
One shift, one downshift. I was downshifting on both the front stretch and back stretch, but I found it was easier just not to downshift on the back stretch. Or upshift, whatever you want to call it. So I'm looking back here at Charlie Widener in the 95 car. He's him and Keith Haney and Mike Erder, those 3 cars, each one of them trying to get by each other. They're battling hard out there right now.
Yeah, Charlie Widener, I just painted that car up for him the other day, that Craftsman Harbor Freight car there. It's a sharp-looking car, Charlie.
Yeah, it's a great-looking car, Charles. So coming back, we got David Schreck and Wesley Holland just got together, but there was no caution. I'm not sure what happened. I caught the tail end of that, but that was almost big for our leader, Wesley Holland.
Wow, real big. I'm just looking at the replay real quick. If I can describe it, looks like the 9 car of David Schreck was just a little bit low off of turn 4. I think Wes didn't expect him to be quite that low. They made fender contact again on that same side for Wes Holland that he got the previous damage from off turn 4, scraping the wall. So the right side's taking a beating, but fenders are still on it, pointing the same direction. Our interval up front, we're talking Jeff M-ROC now, 3.1 seconds, and let's see if I get this right. Yeah, Chris Davis, another 3 seconds behind him. So all these cars, M-ROC, Davis, Charlie Widener for that matter is closing in. So it looks like, just like we kind of predicted, Wes Holland made a really good run early in the race, but I'm afraid to say it too early, but may have used his tires up as M-ROC is closing that gap down to 2.5 seconds now.
Yeah, no, this is an impressive run by Jeffrey M-ROC, 15th and approaching the leader right now. We just passed halfway a lap ago, so we've got about 43 laps left in this thing. Now what are you thinking about, Scott? Is it time to go, or do you still want to manage those tires a little bit?
I think I'm still in manage mode, especially if I'm someone like M-ROC, where I know I have all 4 fenders on it. Actually, as I say that, I'm looking at M-ROC's car right now, and on the right side, it's scraped up a little bit, may have brushed the wall or another car at some point. But again, I think it depends on where you are in the field. If I'm somebody like M-ROC, where I watched that interval come down from 7 seconds down to 2.5 now, I'm sitting kind of pretty. I'm just going to keep doing exactly what I'm doing and not push any more than I am. Because I know the stress is on Wes Holland. He sees that gap closing. He knows he has damage on his car. If I'm somebody further back in the field, maybe like Erder, Schulte, people like that, I might start to try to look at doing something different. With only 40 laps to go, 10 seconds back. If we got anything in the tank, I think now's the time to try to show it.
So M-ROC has lost almost a full second to Wesley Holland at this point, and that had to do with a lap car battle between a couple other drivers. It looks like it's James O.O. Brown and another driver. were battling hard in front of M-ROC, and M-ROC had nowhere to go and just had to sit there and watch those two guys duke it out. Held him up for quite a bit.
James O. Brown on the outside. I think he'll give way to M-ROC here on the inside in that Skeeter Chevy.
Back up here at Wesley Holland, he's about to pass the 57 car of Jeff Gilmore, I think that is. Yep. So this is going to put the 12th place car a lap down. So there's only 11 cars left on the lead lap. We've kept it green this entire time, and this wasn't what I expected actually.
No, if I were a betting man, I would say I wouldn't have bet on 50 laps plus under green here, but awesome job by these guys, especially with the contact. I mean, we haven't seen any lack of action. We've seen people get together between rubbing fenders and rubbing the walls and whatnot, and awesome drive by these guys with saving the cars each time. We've seen some smoke as the cars get sideways, but everybody's still pointing in the right direction. We've only lost a couple cars down in the pits, but great job by everybody so far. 52 down, 90 of 90.
It looks like the next set of lap cars that Wesley Holland is navigating through is letting them by peacefully, so that's allowing M-ROC to have a little bit harder time to run his time down, although he's gained back a half a second from his race with lap cars earlier. So Jeffrey M-ROC is making his way by the lap cars currently of 57 to Jeff Gilmore.
Yeah, if we're on M-ROC, Kim, if I have a request here, if you're on Jeffrey M-ROC, I'm on TV3, and what I'm noticing, you can see him going to the corners. I don't know if it's a new thing that iRacing is doing, but you can see those brake rotors glowing as he jumps into turn 1 here, or turn 3. It's kind of a neat effect here. So no lack of effort on M-ROC's part from diving into the corner here, trying to close that gap down to 2 seconds behind Wes Holland.
So Wesley Holland is currently working on the lap car of Mark Billen. I think the next set of lap cars are being a little bit more difficult to get by. Mark Billen lets him by now. And ahead of him is George Jones in that orange and white car. George has been around this league. He's a Frankenstein guy, I believe, Scott.
He is. He's been around much longer than I have. So.
Yep, me too. I always think of him as one of the old guard here.
Him and Joe Marks.
Yeah, Joe Marks looks like he struggled a little bit tonight. He's 18 laps down. I think he must have had something mechanical and pulled it into the garage for tonight. Oh no, he's still on the track, but 18 laps down. So but he's out there giving it what he's got.
I'm looking at a big battle here in third spot. Chris Davis, Charlie Wedner, Keith Haney, and throw Andrew Schulte in the mix. All 4 of these cars are pretty much nose to tail, almost running 2x2 here, all fighting for positions. I know I heard Chris Davis chatting on the radio. A little bit of frustration with some of the lap cars not pulling over, as these guys are still fighting around the 9 car there. 3 wide, Charlie Whitner looks to take advantage. Great move by him, keeping the momentum up on the front stretch, picks up a spot.
Yeah, that group of cars have been going at it all night, with the exception of Chris. Chris was running up in the 3rd position for a while, and these 3 have caught him. But these 3 cars, the 81, the 87, and the 95 of Charles Widener have been just going at it.
While we say that, Ken, I don't mean to interrupt, but up for the lead, we have a lead change. Jeffrey M-ROC give it to him in turn 1 over Wes Holland.
Nice shot. Pass for the lead.
Oh, and Vernon was the lap car that Chris Davis was frustrated about, and I think Vernon may have. I don't know if that was Vernon or Wally. I couldn't tell. I think they both have the same paint scheme. But.
Yeah, short track racing, frustrations come out sometimes. And these lap cars, they do have a right to race. You hope when you come up behind them that they're going to move out of the way if they're not racing anybody. But at the same time, they're also maybe trying to keep on the lead lap in case there's a caution and make the best of it.
Yeah, I'm looking back here in P5, Andrew Schulte. This fight still continues here. Andrew Schulte, Charlie Whitner, Chris Davis.
Yeah, it's probably been the best battle on the track all night.
Yeah, nice clean race, and I think it's with 62 down, we're inside of 30 to go. Andrew Schultz and these guys are still 9.5 to 10 seconds behind the leader. They probably know if this continues to stay green that they're not in it for the win necessarily, but certainly the pride of we're dealing for a podium spot here for third.
Yeah, I just seen Eric Talent get in the wall there on the backstretch. He's a lap down, unfortunately. Had a hard hit with the outside wall there. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about with the lap cars and getting around them, you know, one of the lucky dog rule too, you might not want to let the leader by because you're trying to stand in the lap, but with the lucky dog, you're also trying to be that first car lap down. So sometimes you end up fighting the second, third place guys because you're hoping to get that lucky dog.
Exactly, yeah. What I'm noticing up front with Jeffrey Mark, he's got a very nice clean car, slight scrape on the right side, but brake rotors are still glowing, and he's pulling away now 3+ seconds over Wes Holland in second. Keith Haney in third, another 3 seconds back behind that. As that battle is still pretty tight there between Charlie Whitner, Andrew Schulte, Chris Davis. So we're starting to see some things sort out here. I think if anybody has something for Merck, now's the time to turn it up here.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to have to get going or hope for a caution. I think Merck strategized this out properly. I see he does have quite a bit of rear end damage there too, I noticed. Somebody must have gotten in the back of him. But this is a great battle with Charles Whitner and Keith Haney. It looks like Keith Haney finally got around Charlie Whitner. And Keith Haney, he's pulling away now. So we'll see if Keith Haney can make up some time right now. He's usually pretty good with tires as well.
Man, does this track look really cool or what? I think iRacing did a phenomenal job with these graphics, especially at sunset like this. I don't know if you're seeing this, Ken, but the sunset behind the grandstands and a full grandstand for that matter. And great races tonight. It's an awesome job by all these guys.
Yeah, our producer hasn't had to work too hard tonight. It's been an awesome night for him, so you can just sit back and watch the sunset.
Actually, believe it or not, it's a little bit more work with the green than the caution.
I'm looking at
what I noticed is usually when we have a caution, we can go back and show the replay. We haven't had a caution tonight, and you guys have had to pretty much describe what's happened on a couple of incidents because we really didn't have time to go back for them.
Yeah, and right now, speaking of that, I'm looking back at Charles Widener and Andrew Schulte. Andrew Schulte is really trying to work on Charlie right now. I think he's had enough, wants to get by him. We're getting down to 20 laps to go.
He is. I think this is going to get really interesting now inside of 20 to go, right? We saw a lot of action on the first third of the race, first half of the race, where there's a lot of give and take, but even with that give and take early in the race, we still saw contact. We saw cars getting sideways. We saw guys giving up positions. I think inside of 20 to go now, you have battles like this with Andrew Schulte, Charlie Whitner, where it's not going to be as friendly. They're not going to just pull over for each other. So combine that with just 20 to go, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a late race yellow and we'll shake up the entire race here. If I was these guys, Wesley Holland, Keith Haney, Charlie Whitner, Andrew Schulte, I'd be kind of watching the tire wear too. The yellow flag flies and you could be sitting in the catbird seat with 15 to go here and have something for Merck potentially.
Yeah, hey, can we go to the cock of Andrew Schulte? I'm watching him. He's searching the track for a different line to get by Charles Whitner. And, he just got in the back of him a little bit. No harm, no foul. I just apologize to Charlie about that. But watch him get around this track and watch how he searches around for a way to get around Charlie here. Right now he's looking at the high side. I think he's actually just trying to distract Charlie and pull him off his line. Charlie is racing where Andrew wants to be, and Andrew's trying to change Charlie's perspective is what I'm getting from this.
Exactly, especially short track racing like this. If I'm Charlie Whitner, or if I'm Andrew Schulte for that matter, if I can get Charlie to look in his rearview mirror and guess what I'm doing, where I'm going, how hard I'm going to drive it in the corner. You know this, Ken, from experience. The more you can distract that driver, the more mistakes are likely to happen up there and hopefully take advantage. Real nice job by Andrew. I like that strategy. I think just staying in the low line and riding around behind him, you're not going to get the pass done. But there it comes with the crossover. See if we can get the gas down. Not quite off a turn two, but...
Yeah, I think he was actually able to make that position change work for him.
Yeah, I like that high entry that Andrew Schulte was doing. high entry, let Charlie really has to kind of stop the car in essence in the middle of the corner to get it pivoted, whereas Andrew can cross over, get the pass done just like that. See if Andrew or Charlie rather looks to the inside for the crossover. Really good racing here by these guys.
Yeah, and I've been racing with Charlie for a while too, and I've watched that guy mature over the years, and he's become a threat out there. It's kind of fun to watch these guys get better and better every time they come out.
Yeah, while we've been watching this one, Jeffrey M-ROC, he's pulled out to almost an 11-second lead.
Man, that sounds good on paper, but I don't know if it's the best strategy. If I was 11 seconds out with 10 to go, man, I'd be just 80% throttle, just kind of saving.
Yeah, that caution comes out. Jeff could be a sitting duck, and
Exactly.
Keith Haney is pretty good on tires, and as a matter of fact, he's now in that second position. If there's a caution, I would be willing to bet that Haney's tires is better. Matter of fact, I'm looking
I
at
think
the.
you put Andrew Schulte in that box as well. I think Andrew Schulte is going to have some tires. I'm really interested to see with Andrew 1 second behind Keith Haney if he can't close that gap and pick up a P2 spot before the end of this with 12 to go.
What's interesting, Scott, is the top three guys. Jeffrey M-ROC started in 15th. Keith Haney started in 12th. And Andrew Schulte, who's currently running in 3rd, started in 10th.
Wow. For a track that I thought was difficult to pass on, I think that proves the opposite right there.
Looks like it's heating up again between the 95 and the 38.
Yeah, Charlie might have wore off his tires fighting Andrew off, and that allows Chris Davis to move back into the picture. And that'll probably be an interesting battle when Chris does catch him, because those guys are probably on about equal tires at this point. Looking back up at Keith Haney, Keith Haney has dropped back 0.3 since the last time I looked on Jeffrey M-ROC. So he might not have the tires I thought he did.
Yeah, and Andrews closed that gap, so.
And we're coming with 10 to go.
Am I reading this right? Are you guys scoring sheets showing the same thing? That I'm showing 5 cars on lead lap?
That's what I'm showing. I'm showing 5 cars in the lead lap. Last one being Christopher Davis.
Wow.
That's what we got here.
So it looks like the closest battle on the track is probably for this 4th and 5th spot between Charlie Whitner and Chris Davis. And then put Andrew Schulte, like I called out a few laps ago, closing in, dropped that gap down from 1 second down to 0.4 of a second. I think he's got bullseye on Keith Haney's bumper here.
Yeah, we should watch this. I think this Andrew Schulte Keith Haney thing is about to heat up, and we got about 8 laps to go. Andrew figured out how to get Charlie off his line, and can he do the same thing with Keith Haney?
Exactly. I think he's got the experience from that pass early on to know that wide entry might have something and be able to cross him over on the corner exit. Should be really interesting to see. He's already eyeballing it, that high entry, seeing where Keith Haney's weaknesses might be.
Yeah, he's starting to use that high line, take it down low. I think for a minute there, I thought Haney got loose, but I think I mislooked at that. Unfortunately, I got a scoring sheet in front of me too. He's there. It's just a matter of whether he can make it work. We got about 6 laps to go.
Exactly. If I was in Andrew's spot, I'd be thinking I want to get to his bumper sooner than later and try something, because if it doesn't work, I want to be able to have time still to try something different. So if you kind of wait till there's 2 to go or so, and then you kind of only have 1 shot at it. So like Andrew's doing, I like his strategy. Push now. Maybe use that same strategy you used a few laps ago on Charlie Whitner, see if it works.
And he gets it. He just gets by him. I think. And he just tapped the 4 car of Joe Marks coming out of the pits. And while we were talking about those two, Christopher Davis does get by Charles Widener in the 95 car. So it's showtime. Who's got the best stuff? We got 5 laps to go.
Man, can you imagine what a yellow would do to this race at this point? We do have one green white checker on the Bucks, so
I'd almost
NASCAR
like to see that. Although I don't usually like cautions,
right?
but it would sure be fun to watch.
You got the button there, Edmund. Throw it. I won't tell.
That I do. I got the boot button too.
Yeah, it looks like we got four to go. Is that what you guys are showing?
Yes, sir.
So everything's holding stable with Jeffrey M-ROC. He's got a 10, 11 second lead now on Andrew Schulte, who's now in second after getting by Keith Haney. Keith Haney's still back there. And then you got about 4 seconds back to Christopher Davis and Charles Widner, who's now fallen quite a bit off the pace. I think Charlie used up his stuff trying to hold on. Watching Jeffrey M-ROC cross the start-finish line here. We got 2 to go. And M-ROC has put on quite a show. I mean, starting 15th, drove basically from the back last qualifier. What do you think, Scott? Was this a professional move for Mr. M-ROC?
I think not only a show, but a clinic for these guys. I mean, starting 15th, I can imagine that he probably didn't put down a qualifying lap. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I'm just kind of guessing there because M-ROC's usually pretty quick, top 5 or so in qualifying. So starting 15th, I'm guessing he didn't qualify, and to move his way up through the field with minimal damage on the car like this and then pull out a 12-second lead on Andrew Schulte, man.
Yeah, well, here he comes. Coming out of turn 4. He's going to get the win. Call it. Jeffrey M-ROC
Sign him
wins
up
at Richmond. Getting back here at Andrew Schulte. He's still back there with Keith Haney, battling it out. Just crossing the start-finish line. Second place, give it to Andrew Schulte. Third place, Keith Haney. Christopher Davis in 4th place, and Charles Widener wraps out our top 5. So we'll see if we can do drivers' interviews tonight.
Yeah, looks like M-ROC, Andrew, and Keith. We'll see if we can get a hold of them here in a minute or so. Get their perspective on the race. Green flag at Richmond. Who would have thunk that?
User was moved to your channel.
Looks like he's about to get his celebration underway. Hey, Jeffrey M-ROC, Ken Huber, Scott Patton, and Kim Cook. You're up here in the broadcast booth. You have a copy?
I do, guys. What's up?
How do you do, sir? How did you do that tonight? You started in 15th position.
Yeah, these cars here, these new wider tires, they're well, there's a trick to it, and I just know what the trick is, I guess, on short tracks anyway.
So what was your strategy coming into this race? Starting that far back, I mean, how were you thinking that with only one set of tires? How are you thinking to approach this whole race?
Well, I knew starting in the back because I just screwed up both my qualifying laps. Really, is the only reason I was back there. I spun it out coming off 4 the first lap, and I think I went into 1 and 2 good. Come off, went into 3, and it got sideways because I drove it in too deep. So I mean, just poo-pooed both laps. Started 15th, and I knew, okay, I was going to have to drive it pretty hard early to get through traffic, and then kind of go into tire saving mode from there on out, and hope the leaders are up there racing each other and burnt their stuff up. And I think that's kind of what they did.
Yeah, well, it sure was a lot of fun watching you tonight. I know I was out there rooting for you, and I think Scott and Kim were too. So, you know, we seen you coming up on Wesley Holland, and Wesley Holland starting to have problems with lap traffic. Were you aware that he was starting to beat and bang on some guys out there?
Yeah, Wes is a good driver, but I mean, he can be a little over aggressive at times. I was kind of watching the lap times, and I was noticing I was about 3 or 4 tenths a lap faster than he was. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna settle in right here and just kind of run these laps, and see if that continues to be the case. And it was. I got up there to him, and I was like, well, you know, Wes usually races you pretty hard when you're trying to pass him for the lead. But I think, you know, he either burned his stuff up or he was so beat up he couldn't run my pace. So he just kind of moved up out of the way, let me go.
Yeah, from our view up here, it looked like he was the lap cars were doing most of the beating on him rather than him doing the beating on them. So he was, you know, he's struggling getting by those guys that were racing him hard. You know, they wanted to stay on the lead lap. But hey, anyway, great run for you tonight. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, Painted Paints for the paint here in his series. This Skeeter paint job looks really good. My other car looks just like it. It's actually the twin to my A car. So big shout out to Scott Patton. The big boss man over at Over the Top Motorsports, John Hendrick. Over the top paints and designs. Don't look your best, look over the top. Big shout out to all the admins over here. Kim Quick, our brother in arms, old Kent Conley. Keep up the good fight, brother. We're pulling for you. Ken Huber up in the booth, Kim up in the booth. Everybody that works hard to put this show together, and last but not least, my loving wife in there. Hopefully she's watching the broadcast. Saw this dominant performance, and so this one's for her.
All right, man. Good run.
Hey, Jeff, I got to say from me, man, congrats, man. That was, I'm not always the first one to give you all the compliments in the world, but that was a clinic tonight. And if there's one race that I wish I could be down there and on the track with you, man, awesome job tonight.
Thanks, bud. Yeah, I took some tricks you showed me, and I put them to use. I'm slowly implementing them into my race strategies, and it seems to be working out. Yeah, I kind of wish you'd have been.
I called him out, and I was like, man, if there's one guy who has increased their racecraft this past year, man, it's Jeffrey Merck. And to watch you come from 15th like that to 10 plus 12 seconds, looks like 11 and a half seconds over your buddy there, Andrew Schulte. Heck of a job, and awesome job from green to checkered, man.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Means a lot coming from you because, not saying anything bad about the drivers in here, but you are, I think, the best driver we have in this league. And you're more than willing to show the drivers what they need to do. All you got to do is ask Patton, and he'll pull you aside, show you what to do, because he's all about getting everybody faster. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Patton showing me some things that he does, and I really appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Merck. And next week I'm jumping behind the wheel, so better look out, man.
Hey, I'm ready. Let's go, brother.
Let's go.
All right, so let's see if we can get down to pit lane and bring Andrew up. You ready to have an interview with Mr. Andrew Schulte?
Yeah, let me talk to Andrew here. Let's see where he's at.
User was moved to your channel.
Andrew Schulte, Scott Patton up here in the booth, along with Kim Quick and Ken Huber. How's it going down there?
It's going
User
pretty
was
good.
moved out of your channel.
How are you guys?
Good. Another solid podium finish. How did the race play out from your standpoint, strategy-wise? We certainly weren't betting on this staying green the whole time. Did you have a plan for Merck there, or was it just kind of watch him run out there, or what was the deal from your standpoint there? I know you came through a lot of traffic, picking up 8 spots from the start there.
Well, I know Merck picked up more spots than that. He passed me early on. I didn't get any practice, so I didn't really know what to expect here. I was just looking back and watching him start climb through the field, and he was shifting. And once we got up to speed, I just left it in 5th the whole time. So maybe that's where I was missing out on a little bit of speed. But no tires and no fast repair. I just knew it was going to be a survival of who can keep the tires on it and who can keep it out of the wall. I know we had some run-ins there, but I feel like I'm pretty decent at saving tires there, and we saw a lot of people dropping out from wearing their stuff out too early. So I think we had about 20 or 30% left on the right front at the end there. So I think we took care of that well. It got a little tight after getting some damage from couple different people, but yeah, I don't think there was any way we were going to catch him once it was just he was the only one in front of me, but can't complain about second.
Yeah, certainly. Congratulations on another solid P2 finish. Anybody want to thank out there?
Shout out to Patented Paints for the paint job. I know she was a little wrinkled up tonight, but she still looks slick. Hopefully the fans out there enjoyed the race. I didn't expect it to go green that whole time either. There were a lot of people that were calling out different wrecks or spins or saves, and it was who knows how that would have played out bunching the field back up. But congrats to Mark on the win again. That was a hell of a performance, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting this. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, it was fun watching you tonight. I was one of those guys who was rooting for you as well. So, great run. Great job at second. We'll see you next week.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're on the track next week at Watkins Glen Road Racing. I'll be behind the wheel as well. We'll be on Vidane TV for that one. So we'll see you there, Andrew.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
See ya.
All right, guys. seen a lot of action
User
tonight.
left
A
your
lot of
channel.
great 2 and 3 wide racing. They kept it clean all night, which I was freaking amazed by. I really expected at least probably 5 or 6 cautions tonight, and they did a really good job keeping it clean. What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
Yeah, as far as the driving, not only did they keep it clean, but we saw plenty of action. We saw guys sideways. We saw tire smoke. We saw glowing brake rotors. We saw 3 wide, I think 4 wide at one point. A lot of great action out there. Tire strategy seemed to be the theme of the night. But awesome job with all these guys keeping it pointed the right way. A solid 5 cars finishing on the lead lap here. M-ROC, impressive run with that 12-second lead there over Andrew Schulte. And Keith Haney with the podium, Chris Davis and Charlie Widner rounding out the top 10 there. And yeah, awesome job for this M-ROC series. Man, I got some great notes. I've been taking notes both last week at Talladega as well as this week at Richmond. Our plan for the M-ROC series multi-league race of champions is after Kim Quick's Cup Series season ends in November, which ends on the same week that the regular NASCAR Championship weekend is held. 5 weeks following that, we're going to go 5-week racing with the M-ROC series in the next-gen car for preparation for next year. We're going to use a lot of the same rules we used tonight. No fast repairs, 0 tire changes, shorter races. It's kind of a sprint to the finish, but it was a really interesting race tonight that I thought these were going to be sprint races, but it turned out to be more of a tire race than anything else. And we saw people with early leads early on and then float to the back from tire damage halfway into the last third of the race. So interesting how the thought process is on this. And if I were to bank on cautions, man, this would be one of the tracks that I would be able to do that. But green flag from start to finish, great job by these guys. Yeah, I think looking forward to, I get some great notes looking forward and looking forward to November in the M-ROC series.
Yeah, so am I. It's been a great series, and also I'm wondering, what kind of changes iRacing will bring to these cars that might actually make them better for next season. But yeah, no, it's going to be great. I think all 3 of us, Kim Quick, Ken Huber, Scott Patton, we're all going to be back in the cockpits next week, and we'll be on Vidane TV, I believe it is.
That's correct.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and